I'm pretty confident in the way I carry myself and the way I just go every day in life and have fun.
I don't have self-confidence.
I feel very good about myself. I'm very clean. I do everything right. Basically the same.
To have my own self-esteem and just look at myself the way I am, not the way people want me to be.
I feel good.
I feel very good about myself because I think I'm a very good person.
I like myself just the way I am. I'm having fun.
I'm just happy to be alive.
I'm self-confident. I believe if I just put my mind to anything, it's done.
Like I don't really care about my image, and I know if I'm a good person, and it doesn't matter what I look like. And
I guess as long as you believe God thinks you're a good person, then you're a good person, so you just feel that way.
All right, John, remember the line from that movie? I forget what it's called, but the guy goes, "I am not worthy. I'm not worthy."
Yeah, that line's taken on a life of its own.
It has. But if you think about it, the actual meaning of those words, that someone is saying that they're not worthy, well, that's a little sad because we're all equal and worthy in God's eyes, no matter what we look like, where we live, or what car we drive.
That's true. And it's sad to think that some people don't know the love of God and understand how precious each of us are in His eyes.
Self-worth, made in God's image, learning to like yourself. That is what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia.
And I'm John.
And this is Real Faith TV. We met the teens on the street who talked about how they felt about themselves.
We will talk with them again later in our program and with our studio guests.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest Erica and her mother Linda.
Erica has battled issues with self-esteem and self-worth, especially in her grammar school years.
These feelings of worthlessness may very well have triggered her development of the eating disorders anorexia and bulimia.
Let's meet Erica and her mom Linda now.
Most recently, trying to deal with my illness of anorexia and, trying to recover from that. And looking back, I can see that in middle school and even as far as elementary school that I was made fun of, I was picked on, I was always feeling left out, I never felt popular, and that started to kind of eat away at me as, going from 6th, 7th, 8th grade, sometimes even to 9th and 10th grade, I had repeated, things being said to me, and it just kind of tore down my whole self-esteem and self-image of myself. And in order to feel popular, I thought that I had to be some kind of role, I had to be perfect, I had to look a certain way, I had to be this much weight, and so, going through high school, I started to notice things where, like, I was really comparing myself to others, and this girl, is this thin, and this girl has this color hair, and I have this, I have brown hair, not blonde, and I think all of that kind of relates into my eating disorder, as in trying to be perfect and trying to be a certain thing. And that's, I started losing weight, thoughting that was, maybe if I lost some weight, maybe I would look better, and so on.
I think as a nurse, I'd be remiss if I didn't add that there are other physiological and chemical imbalances that can cause anorexia, so you need to be aware of that. Also, we seem to see so much societal pressure towards a good body image and being thin that contributes. And lastly, there can be a history of sexual or physical abuse that can be a contributing factor to anorexia as well.
As Erica's mom said, the low self-image which Erica had at the time may have been a contributing factor to the anorexia, but not entirely the cause.
Low self-esteem and self-image affects your whole being and everything that you do. Let's see how our guests feel about this.
It's a good idea. Today we have Nicole, Catherine, Powell, and Megan.
So guys, how do you feel about yourselves? Do you have a good self-image?
I'm the bestest person in the whole wide world. No, I don't feel like that, but I do feel that I am an amazing person, and I'm made in the image of God and everything. And even though some people may not think so, I still think I'm pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. Powell, come on, you look like a pretty confident guy. You have to feel good about yourself.
Sure, why not?
I think you have to have like a certain amount of confidence to even like be on, like a TV show. I think it takes a lot of confidence to come out here and like proclaim something that's so hard to do, like, in our society at our age and stuff. So I think we all have pretty good self-esteem. I do.
I was at a soccer camp once, and we met this guy who started this clothing company because his girlfriend had bulimia, and he started a company called Ugly, and it stands for You Gotta Love Yourself. And I thought it was really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find it difficult to have a good self-image or have a lot of self-confidence? Maybe in school it's difficult, or just seeing other factors. Like, do you ever doubt your self-image or have less confidence? Yeah, I would definitely say I do. I try not to, but it's hard when, like, you just see the image of, like, the perfect girl, the all-American type of girl, and you try to compare yourself to it, which really isn't good to do.
Yeah, I think, like, girls struggle with, like, self-image a lot of times, a lot more than guys, because you'll find, I actually did a report on it, like, 1 out of 4 girls has an eating disorder, like, in high school, I think the years from freshman to senior year, and it was surprising when I heard that, because when you look at, like, the ratio from guys to girls, it's, like, it's incredible, because girls have it's a greater struggle. It's such a greater struggle for girls, because they're constantly, surrounded by magazines, and you have to wear makeup, and you have to look this way and make this weight and stuff. So,
well, guys, it's easier too, because when you're a 17, 18-year-old guy, you really don't care about that much. Like, you don't care about what you look like usually. You want to look good for the girls and stuff like that. But you're not like spending every moment reading up on fashion and everything. And girls like fashion, and they like looking pretty, and that's great. It really is, like, to look your best. But when it becomes to the point of where it takes over like your life, then it's like a problem, and it's what's on the inside that matters.
Yeah, and sometimes people, are just jerk faces, and you have a bad day, and they make you feel like really bad about yourself. But at the end of the day, you really got to think that you are like God's creation, and you're an amazing person, and that's the thing that gets you through the day. You just gotta keep that in mind.
That's definitely true. We all have our bad days, and as John said, there are different things that you can have confidence or lack confidence in. And for girls, it can be appearance or other things. For boys, maybe it could be sports. Maybe there's a smaller guy, and he's not as good as at a sport, and the other kids on the playground make fun of him or something like that. So there are all different kinds of things where you can either be built up in your self-esteem or torn down. And I think a lot of times at this age especially, people that have low self-esteems already sometimes tear down other people, and then you're left in a hard place. It's true. I just think it's important to realize God made us all differently for a reason. If we all looked the same and acted the same, how boring would that be? It's good we're different.
Yeah, it is good we're different, Variety is one of the best things that God gave us,
It's true.
The life would be so boring and nondescript if we were all looked the same and all like talked the same and acted the same. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like a melting pot of like everyone, it just makes the world such a better place. And if you meet different people, you can actually expand yourself instead of everyone conforming to one person.
Mm-hmm. Self-esteem and confidence open a lot of doors for you too. They open doors to meeting new friends and to trying new things. So if we don't have a lot of confidence and good self-esteem, then it also can, kind of not let us live to our full potential and have a full life.
Mm-hmm. Also, you have to remember though, you can't be cocky just because if say you have a talent, say you're one of the best baseball players in your school or whatever, you can't brag and be cocky though, because that you'll be hurting someone else then. So.
It's true. It comes down to confident but not cocky.
Mm-hmm.
Love yourself, but don't love yourself to the extent that you're shutting everybody else out of the way,
The media plays a huge role in influencing us in the way we should look and be.
It can lead us down the path of self-doubt, thinking that we don't measure up to society's standards.
I think most people would agree that the media places much more value on our physical appearance rather than our beauty within.
We ask the teen on the street if they feel that teenagers value themselves on the inside, or are they caught up in outward appearances.
Let's check it out.
Definitely the outward appearances, because they think that means like the clothes they wear, they think means everything. Who they talk to, they think it means like everything. They don't rely on what's inside.
Outward appearance. They try to fit in mostly.
they're definitely caught up in outward appearances because of TV and stuff. Like they want to be like with their favorite celebs and stuff, what they want to do.
Yeah, I think they value about looks and actions because, you know, the media and newspapers influence them so much.
I think they're caught up in their appearances because they want to be popular.
I think it's the appearance. Everybody tries to look good or whatever, but if a person likes you or whatever, they normally like you for who you are and not your looks.
Yeah, they need to look in themselves more. They look in deeper to where they are.
I think most of them do, but some of them just try to be who they're not. So.
I think a lot of people these days, they try to be something they're not. They see people on TV doing something, so they gotta go and do it. So yeah, I think a lot of people are real fake.
I think that teenagers a lot are swayed by everything that goes on around them, especially if they're younger, like 14. They're usually swayed. I mean, some people are strong, they have strong personalities, but other people, like, I think until you start growing and getting to know yourself, usually you're swayed a little bit.
I think a lot of teens are caught up in outward appearances, even though it really shouldn't be that way. That's, I guess, how it is. I mean, like, there's people that aren't, like, you know, people that see, oh, that person's a good person, you know, he's nice, whatever. But a lot of times, teens do prejudge people by how they look and etc.
So what do you guys think about this? Do you think that teens are caught up in outward appearances?
I think most of the time, definitely, yes, because I think, well, I don't know if teens, like, what they're looking for, like, relationship-wise, like, I don't think a lot of people are that shallow. Like, I don't think a lot of people that I know anyway, like, they look at a girl, and then if she's got a horrible personality, but she's great looking, they're gonna, like, stay with her, you know what I mean, or, like, even be friends with her. I don't think that they're that caught up, but I think, like, in the sense that they want to look a certain way, and they want to, like, talk a certain way and be funny and be that person that's, you know, popular and whatever. Yeah, I think that definitely they're caught up. Yeah.
Mm. Well, I don't see anything wrong with just, you know, being funny and trying to look your best. But when it comes to a point where if you're just staying together with the person or being friends with someone just because of their appearance, that's kind of sad and it's very, like, immature.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of obvious that people aren't necessarily happy with how they look just because we're all guilty of it. You know, we all either dye our hair or we don't eat a lot so we can stay thin, different things like that. We all try to fit kind of a certain mold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I think a majority of teens do that, but I think there's that always, like, that tiny little bit that just doesn't care what other people think, and, you know, they'll do what they do anyway, and whatever anyone else thinks, you know, it doesn't matter because you are who you are, and as long as you're not, like, a mean, evil person, which most people aren't, you know, just be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also, like, you need a certain amount of, like, maturity to understand that, because I think as people grow, of course they grow into their own person. I mean, you can see 30-year-olds still, you know, trying to conform into that certain group of people, even in, like, the business world or something. But I think when you grow into your own skin and, like, when you know who you are and what you want to be, that your life is so much more fulfilling and you feel so much more comfortable because it's who you are and you're letting people see that. And I think it does take a little bit of maturity and growth.
I totally understand what you're saying. Actually, like, this summer, I started seeing things differently in my head, and, you know, I was doing a lot of thinking, and I kind of assessed the way I was living, and I decided to become more and more of my own person. I was listening to what my friends wanted me to do and what society was telling me to do, and I just, you know, certain events triggered off thoughts in my mind that told me, you know what, it's time to become your own person. It's time to do what you want to do and just look in your heart and see, like, God's plan for you and just try to work it out. And it really worked, and I feel a lot better, and I feel like I know myself, and that's the most important thing in life, is to know yourself. Because if you know yourself, then you can know other people and you can change the world if you want. But it all starts with you.
I actually went on a retreat in my senior year of high school, and on the retreat, all the leaders, I was a leader, had to give a speech. And I got the speech, Know Yourself. And I think it took, like, a lot of courage to actually want to, like, dig deeper, because you had to make a speech in front of, like, about 100 kids or something. And I really found it difficult to like analyze myself and look inside myself and see, you know, what was there, because I think you do get caught up in like your friends and your social life and school and everything sometimes. And you know, I did the speech successfully, but I think we need to do that once in a while. I think it humbles us a little bit, and I think it's good for you, like, to just look at yourself, and you're a small piece of this like amazing world. And I think it gave me a lot more confidence in my own life.
Father Martin Padavani writes in his book, Healing Wounded Emotions, that self-love is not just turning inward on ourselves and remaining there. That's self-centered.
It means going back out, reaching out and touching others, but I must give to myself before I can give to others.
I must be able to recognize my own needs before I can successfully recognize the needs of others.
Genuine self-love provides us with the strength and courage to reach out to others.
That is what Erica's family and friends did when she was struggling with her self-worth and in recovery from anorexia and bulimia.
Let's go back to our interview and find out what advice Erica and her mom have on this topic.
I think the biggest and most important thing is, I think, to really love yourself and try the best that you can. I know it's really hard. I know it's very, very difficult, and especially in the society that we live in today. Everybody's so focused on how people look, and you know, in fashion magazines and on television. Try to love yourself for who you are, and if you can't, I think really talk to somebody into that you're having issues and that you're having problems with low self-esteem. Having your friends around is really, really important. They're there for support, they're for emotional support, spiritual support, anytime, you know. I think those are the ones that actually help bring up your self-esteem. That's what happened for me, and I had only a few friends that I could go to, but they were lifesavers. I really think that your family has a lot to do with it, and saying that, like, just having your family members, you know, there and bringing you up in a good self-esteem environment, and making sure that your kids are loved, and making sure that you tell them that, and especially growing up in the middle school years, I really think that's when you're starting to really discover who you are as a person and where you fit, and don't really listen to what other people say. Really take time and to listen to God's word and to who you are as a person, and not what others think, because that's where it kind of all starts.
You want to also encourage your child to be able to express their real feelings, which I'm learning we didn't do. It was always, you know, make everything okay instead of saying what's really on your mind. Had we been real honest with each other, we probably would not have had some of the pitfalls that we had. Build confidence within your child to build up their self-esteem. As a school nurse in an elementary school, I see many times lack of interest or no interest at all can be just as detrimental as physical or verbal abuse to a child.
I think that sometimes we may underestimate our power to help and reach out to others.
Yes, as Erica said, she only had a few friends, but they were her lifesavers.
We as friends can do little everyday things to build self-worth in our friends and others who we meet. Just saying hi and smiling at someone can make their day.
What are some other ways you guys can think of to help build someone else's confidence or build up their day?
I think little compliments go a long way. I know last year in school, every day I at least tried to compliment one person for something small, like I really like your shirt, or oh, your hair looks really, really pretty today. Something like that. People really take those to heart.
I don't like to put a downer on that one, but I don't like, if I don't really think something, I'm not just gonna say it to sugarcoat stuff and be nice to people. I think that's really good, if you really think that. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't do that every day. I think anywhere from just saying hi to someone or just stirring a conversation up with someone, if they look lonely, or if you're the person that stands up for someone. I mean, in school situations, mm-hmm. That's how I would do it.
What I do is every time I feel bad about myself, say I look in the mirror and I don't like the way I look that day, or you know, maybe I just don't think that I'm good at a certain thing, I'll go out and compliment someone else, and it'll make me feel better, and it'll make that person feel better. So like, for example, say we were in gym and I played basketball terribly that day. I'd go to a kid who was playing maybe worse than me or a little bit better and tell them, hey, you're getting really good, or like, or you're getting better, you know? And just seeing that person's eyes like light up when they get a compliment, or just say like, thanks man, or whatever, it makes me feel better, and it helps both of us. So
I know exactly what you mean. Like when I tell someone else that they're doing something good, it makes me feel better in turn.
So what are some of the ways that like your family and friends have helped build your self-esteem and like just teach you to love yourself and respect yourself?
Support. Yeah, like I was just going to say, like
Either
constant reinforcement, support. They foster like all the ideas that you just said, like loving yourself and, you know, just being there for me. Like if you were getting like made fun of or something, say like in school or like in 8th grade or something, your parents would always either tell you, you know, like, oh, they're just jealous, or like, you know, whatever they're going to say to make you just feel good about yourself, you know.
I have a funny story to tell about that. And in 4th grade, we had to wear gym shorts for gym on like the day that we had gym. And I wasn't really into the cool clothing back then. My gym shorts were pretty short. And the kids were making fun of me, like the older kids. And I got really upset. And I went home and I was like, oh, they're calling me spandex and all this stuff. So my dad went out and put on the same shorts and picked me up from school that day and walked out in front of all the kids. And he got made fun of, but he just smiled and laughed at him, and he came right back with me. And I was like, my dad can make a fool out of himself, so can I. So, you know what? It just made me feel so great that my dad would actually love me that much to do something like that.
Yeah, I come home to a whole arsenal of huggers, you know, like I'm the oldest of 8 and there are 10 people in my house. So like I just come home and go, I had a crappy day, and they all just hug me and it's like, it's okay. Yeah, and then my mom takes me on chocolate splurges, and you know, it's so fun. It's crazy fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to have support from family and friends when you're just having one of those days, you know.
In Isaiah chapter 43, God says, I have called you by name, you are mine.
We belong to God. How awesome is that?
Erica knew how much God loved her, but she lost track of it during her illness.
In our next segment, she talks about how focusing on her relationship with God helps her in her struggle with her self-image and her eating disorder.
Today, I still sometimes have to stop myself and think, okay, I'm doing this again. I really need to focus on God, and I really need to focus on my life now, and don't worry about anybody else except for myself and my relationship with God and my family. It's, like I said, it's taken me a long time, but God has been faithful. And there's a book, it's called Life is Tough, but God is Faithful, and I feel like that's part of my life. Life is tough, and I've gone through some really tough things, but God is faithful and He's loving, and we're made in the image of Him, and I believe that wholeheartedly. And even when I was really sick, I knew that, but the eating disorder kind of took over and took control of my thinking, and I wasn't really thinking straight. But all along I've known that, God is there, and it's just really trying to clear my thoughts and trying to clear my head and getting right back on track is when I really started focusing on God. To know that you are made in the image of God is so wonderful, and I can't believe I lost track of that.
So guys, what does your faith teach you about just self-esteem? Does it help it, and how?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I think, as we've all been saying, God made everyone different. God made everyone unique. God gave you these gifts of what you have. God made you a certain way for a certain reason. I definitely believe that. And I mean, for me, He made me tall. There's a reason behind that. And I think it just teaches you to love yourself, to believe in yourself, to know that no matter what, God's there. He's with you. He's going to support you, and He loves you just the way you are. So there's no need to try to change yourself or not to like yourself.
I hear people say all the time that they want to change for like a girl or a guy. They want to work out a lot so they can get like a certain girl because they don't have a great body, or a girl's going to cut her hair differently and dress differently so she can get like the football player, like the popular football player. But what does that say about the other person if you have to change yourself to make them like you? Why don't you just spend the time to go find someone that likes you for who you are?
I definitely agree, John, but at the same time, I think if little things, like cutting your hair a certain way or something like that, if that gives you self-confidence,
Oh, that's
I don't
fine,
think
yeah.
there's anything wrong with it.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
I completely agree with you. Like sometimes change is good. You know, you had the same haircut since 4th grade, and then you decide to change it, and you feel good about it. Yeah, it's great. Good for you.
And that takes confidence, but I think,
But I
as
think
you said,
what you have to do is do it for yourself. Don't
Not
do
for
it
other
because
person.
someone
That's what I was
else.
trying to say,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
And don't try to hold yourself up to some, big image that you see in the media or something like that. You see people, taking it from a haircut. Maybe they feel so uncomfortable or they want to look a certain way to feel worthy of themselves. They take it so far as to, get addicted to cosmetic surgery or something like that. Or it could even be a different talent that they were looking to have, like somebody that says, I want to be like Mike, I want to be the best basketball player ever. And, they kind of lose sight of the other gifts that they have and the other things that they could be doing, and they only concentrate on that. And when they don't reach the same success as Michael Jordan, which not many people do, then they feel like they're not a worthy person. And it's important for us, as we've said before, to look inside of ourselves and to realize that God gave us a certain number of gifts, and through our life we're going to be successful at certain things, we're going to fail at other things, but throughout that whole time we remain in His image, and for that reason we're so important and we have so much self-worth, because each of us plays a different role and fits into the puzzle of the world in a different way, as we've said before, and for that reason we have self-worth, and we should respect ourselves and respect other people for that reason too.
In Isaiah chapter 50, verse 15, God says, "Even if your mother should forget you, I will never forget you. See, upon the palms of my hands I have written your name."
I think that if we could truly understand the love that God has for us, no one could have low self-worth.
God made us and loves us just the way we are.
We don't have to change a thing about ourselves. Just accept His love and love ourselves and others in return.
It all sounds so simple, but it can be difficult when the world is telling us differently.
But we need to listen to what God is telling us in our heart, because that is where we will find true peace and happiness.
Do you have any struggles with self-worth which you would like to share?
Contact us through our website
The address is realfaithtv.com.
or call us at 609-406-7402.
And remember these words from Father Padavani in his book Healing Wounded Emotions. "My successes and my beautiful possessions may enhance the good feelings I have for myself and reassure me.
But my basic worth depends on loving myself. Indeed, the supreme act of faith is to believe that God loves me unconditionally as I am.
And that I too can love myself unconditionally as I am."
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on Real Faith TV. God bless.